Hi everyone, this is actually my very first video on this channel. I thought of making an introductory video, but I guess if you don't already know me personally, you'll just get to know me as I make more videos. So I'll just give a very brief introduction. My name is Nadia and I'm 21 years old and I'm Indonesian. So I've just graduated this July and I studied philosophy, politics and economics at the University of York. In January, I got an offer for a master's degree at Oxford, and since then I've actually been getting quite a few messages from people asking me about the application process. So this is what actually inspired me to start making these videos. So this particular video is going to be about applying to master's degree programs. Of course, every application process is going to be different, especially if you want to do something completely different than what I'm going to do, which is development studies. But I did apply to 5 different universities, so hopefully this video will be helpful for some of you watching. So the first step obviously is to figure out what you want to study. I was actually considering doing development economics rather than development studies. They're very similar, but of course development economics focuses more on the economic side. So the course would have had different requirements. So decide what you want to study. I decided to do development studies. And then the next thing to do would be to research which universities actually offer the course that you want to do. I made a list of them. I think at this point I had about 10 universities in mind. I did all this research at the end of my second year, probably as I was procrastinating revising for my exams. After you've done your research, you need to actually narrow down which universities you want to apply to. I ended up applying to 5 universities. I applied to Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, SOAS and Edinburgh University. Now I think 5 is a bit excessive, but I didn't have any other plans like doing a graduate scheme or any other job, and I honestly didn't think that I would get an offer from Oxford, Cambridge or LSE, so I needed to have my backups. After you decided which universities you want to apply to, the next thing to do would be to check what they require from you. Of course, each application is going to be different, but most universities would ask for quite a few of the same things. Some of the things that all the universities I applied to asked for were academic transcript, personal statement, CVs, and references. So if you've already graduated from your bachelor's degree, you would already have an academic transcript. I was still in the middle of my degree, so I had to ask for an interim transcript, which is basically the same thing, but it didn't have all my marks and it said that my results were still provisional. Then you'd probably also need to write a personal statement. It's basically where you write why you want to study the course that you're applying for. Some universities would ask you to answer specific questions, and some would just ask for 500 words or a page. If you're interested in how I wrote my personal statement, then come back next week as I'll be making a separate video about it. Most universities would also ask for your CV. Again, I will make a separate video about this, but if you just Google for a sample of CV, then that's quite useful to start. LinkedIn would also be quite helpful in giving you an idea of what sorts of information should go on your CV. I will actually leave my LinkedIn profile in the description box below, so you can go check it out if you want to have a look at my CV. Another thing most universities would ask for is academic references. Now, Edinburgh University didn't ask for any, but Oxford asked for 3. All the other universities asked for about 2 references. If you're at university, I would suggest that your first referee should be your supervisor, because they've probably known you for more than a year and presumably they know you better than your lecturers do. My second academic referee was a seminar tutor. Since I was applying to development studies, I thought it would be appropriate to ask my politics of development tutor. I also chose her because she was really nice and she seemed to like me, so that's always a good start. I actually struggled to choose my third referee because a lot of my lecturers didn't actually know me very well. So I went for my head of department because I won an award in first year and I thought he'd at least know who I was. I think it's so important to check what each university requires. On top of everything that I have mentioned, Oxford actually asked for samples of written work. I have to submit 2 essays, which were meant to be 4,000 words each. Now, in my second year, when I was preparing for the application process, I only had 1 essay which was relevant to the course that I was applying to, and it was only 2,000 words. So during the summer between my second and third year, I actually had to write another essay specifically for this application process. Apparently they're not too strict about this, because I ended up submitting 2 essays of only 2,000 words rather than 4,000, and they still gave me an offer. But I still did have to write that extra essay, and it did take me some time. I think it's really important to check all the requirements, and I would suggest doing this in the summer so that by the time the application process opens in October or November, you're ready to just fill out the application form and submit everything. If you're not a native English speaker and your bachelor's degree wasn't taught in English, you might have to do one of these standardized English tests called IELTS or CELTS. I'm afraid I've never done one of these tests, so I can't really talk about it, but this is just to let you know that this might be something you have to do and something to keep in mind. Last, but certainly not least, is check the application deadline. In fact, this should have been the first thing I mentioned and the first thing you need to do. Some universities like Oxford and Cambridge have fixed deadlines, which means your application may not be considered if you miss the deadline. Other universities like LSE have a rolling deadline, which means your application is considered on a first come, first served basis, in which case I would suggest you apply as soon as possible, as you would have more chance of getting an offer. Whether it's a fixed deadline or a rolling deadline, I would suggest just submitting your application as soon as you finish it. That's it for my video today. I hope this has been useful for some of you. If you know anyone who is applying or thinking of applying to master's degree programs, do share this video with them, as it might be useful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. And if you've applied to a master's degree program and you want to share your experience, please do also in the comments below so that other people can read them. As I said, I'll be making more videos about writing a personal statement and writing up a CV. So if you're interested, subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss these videos. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!